I wanted a little bit of rain whilst I was filming this. What did I get? 2 days of sunshine. Pathetic. The book's back. And that is a cool photo. Just have to show you that. How cool is that? Track number 3. Fool in the Rain. One for the Zepp addicts out there. The whistle that can be heard in the Samba section of Fool in the Rain was reportedly blown by John Paul Jones himself. Go on, John. Getting your whistle out, son. Jones even claimed to have used a Jamaican whistle. However, Deborah Bonham, Bonzo's younger sister, revealed in 2012 that it was their brother Mick, who died in 2000, who had done all of the whistling. Oh, poor Mick. I really like, though, that this whistling story was kept all hush hush from 1978 to 2012. You know, like the FBI files, it's like they're ready for that now. Tell them it was Mick. Are you sure they can? Yeah. Just tell them, will you? All right. We'll tell them. Yeah, I'm not really sure if they're ready for that, to be honest. Maybe we should keep it a secret, like Roswell. No, just tell them, Jimmy. Okay, we'll tell them. So what do you need to know? Well, I've got us down as being in the key of C major and time signature being 12/8 for the most part, apart from the Samba breakdown. It's that kind of feel throughout the whole thing. First I'm going to show you are those supporting guitar chords that are pretty much buried beneath the piano. And I've worked out a couple of different ways. One, slightly more complex than the other, and it adds an extra inversion of an A minor in there, which I feel like I can hear in the piano chords, but it just makes it a little bit trickier on guitar. So let me show you the two different versions. That's the easier one. The more difficult one is going to add an A minor in just after this F up here. So yeah, there are some pretty snappy changes in there, but if you've been playing guitar for a while, then you should be familiar with the different shapes. Let's dive in and take a closer look, shall we? Everything we're going to be doing here is going to be across the D, G, and B, different inversions of C, F, and G, and also that sneaky A minor if you want to make it a little bit more like the piano. So, 5th fret of the D, G, B, barred. Then you're going to throw down your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the D and 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the B to make an inversion of an F. So we're going C, F. Then I like to come up to 10, 9, 8 for another C inversion. Then I'm going to flatten that 3rd finger on the 10th fret of the D, G, B, and that gives us another F. Now at this point you can just hit that F again. You're then going to come back to an inversion of G major, so that's going to be 9, 7, 8. That's just your C major shape look, but up at the 10th fret. Position of G. Slide down and out, and then come to a lower inversion of G, 5, 4, 3, for that last stab. Second time, you just don't come down to this final G. So if you want to make that extra little change to make it, well, in my opinion, slightly more like the piano, change that second double hit of the F for an A minor inversion, and that's going to be 10, 9, 10. Makes it tricky going to that G after it, but if you listen to the difference, you just get that semitone drop from the F to the A minor, which is really nice in my opinion. And let's be honest, there's plenty of times at family gatherings, parties, where someone's had 15 pints and they come over to you and go, "Hey, you play a bit of guitar, don't you? Do you know any chords?" "Ah, yeah, no, if you go on and play something for us." And you'll throw up because you know that many chords and you've played them in such rapid succession. It's like, yeah, leave me alone now. I'm at the party too, trying to enjoy myself, right? Do you want to book me? 800 quid. A minute. Next section. Oh, you're in for a treat with this section. It's a very cool riff. I've worked out a simple version, which is just the guitar track. And then I've also done a more complex version, which kind of takes a look at all of the instrumentation as a whole. And then I've tried to turn it into one track, because sometimes when I'm playing by myself, I don't know whether this happens to you, but I kind of get bored and I want it to sound more like the whole track. So I spiced it up a little bit. Here's the simple version. Again, we're just playing around with different inversions of C, A minor, F, G. The first thing we're going to do is hit the 7th fret of the A string and then the 5th fret of the D and the G. I do a little mini bar and I pick down, down, up. Then you're going to take that whole shape, move it up a string. If you're looking at those two shapes and you're confused as to why they're C and A minor, if you take a G chord, open position, leave your first finger free, he's on capo duty. Slide up to the 8th fret. That's a C major chord now, and you can see you've got the 7, 5, 5 in the middle, and the A minor up here. If you play an E minor, open position, leave your first finger free, slide up to the A at the 5th. It's your A minor chord, and you see you've got the 7, 5, 5 on those three strings. So after those first two riffs, you're then going to hit the 7th fret of the G with the pinky, 4th fret with the index finger. And those are your top two, like, resolving notes. Next little riff. It's this little descending thirds pattern, which finishes on a G. So that's 7th fret of the G string, coming back to the 4. Then you're going to hit the 5th fret of the G, coming down to the 7th fret of the D. And then you're going to finish by hitting the 4th fret of the G with the index finger and the 5th fret of the D with the second. So you've got a minor third, major third, but coming backwards, right? Third to root. If you want to add a little bit more of the ping pong effect that you can hear, you could start by hitting the 4th fret of the G. That gives you that kind of ba-nama-nama-nama, little run-in. Ba-nama-nama-nama, that's what it gives you, okay? That's the official term. Yeah, excuse me, sir, how do you get the ba-nama-nama? Well, you get it like this. Got you. Tick. Full marks. Together. Now, let's spice it up. You can hear the piano and maybe another rhythm guitar in the background sort of bouncing off it, syncopated. I've settled on this. I'm just having a better time playing it like that, even if it's not in the track. I've joined the band and I'm doing what I want. Okay? Good. So the only thing that changes is the picking pattern in the first part, and it's the same for both shapes. So what we do here is you go A, D, A, and then we go G, D. Try and seesaw, rock the fingers of the left hand here. The pressure rocking back and forth will help you keep it tidy and stop like string bleed. Move that up a string. So you got those same two notes at the top and then the same riff. If you want to spice that up even more, you can sometimes slide into that first B note on the 4th fret, right? There's loads of different ways that you could play that. I played it like, honestly, 6, 7 different ways before I settled on that. You could even do this riff here. It's just not quite the same. You could play it here. But it's the same notes, right? So before you start getting in the comments going, it's not there! Not that you all do that. Some people do. I'm giving you information. Process it how you want. It's Samba time. That went better than expected, especially those shoulder movements. I don't do that a lot. So this section is mad. Tempo change, time signature change. And it's really hard to figure out what the guitar's doing. I feel like there's just some random leads from Jimmy in there, playing around in C major, resolving on the G or the E. And I settled on following the piano with the guitar. And again, it's those same inversions that happen, the main riff at the start, but with just a slightly different rhythm and some percussive mute. So this is what I've got going on. Now, what might throw you there is that you might think that C is the first beat of the bar, but the percussive down mute that I'm doing is the first beat of the bar. And it really helps to put that in because it sets you up right with Bonham and JPJ. And then it'll take a little bit of practice and then suddenly you'll sit in the track in the right time. With the piano as well, okay? So D, G, B, same 3 strings for everything. Start with a downstroke mute, then down on that C, another mute, and then you're gonna put the F inversion on, 2 upstrokes. At that point, you can hit another passing down mute as you come up to this F up top. Gonna be on the upstroke again. And then you're going to come back to that G inversion, up, down, down. That first up might be like a little passing mute as you make your way back, but you can also get it directly on the chord as well. And then you're back to the start for that mute. Don't forget the mute. Now, after several cycles of that first part of the samba, the rhythm and the chords change to this. So if the other section was the samba section, this is the bamba section. C, F, G, F. And rhythmically, it's a lot simpler. We kind of push into the G, but the rest of it is just down, up, basically. So 2 downs to start with on the C, and then down, up, down on the F. Push into the G on that upstroke. So you get that up over the bar, up, down, up, back to the F, down, up, down, up. As you play these things at speed, you're going to hide a lot of that kind of like collateral noise, as I like to call it, in between the movements. That's what's tricky though, coming out of that section, hey, we're all bambering, back to Full in the Rain. Okay. And because it's the same kind of shapes, your brain will want to carry on bambering, but you've got to get back to Full in, okay? And you'll make this face because you don't understand what's going on, but you'll get it. Moving on. So after the solo section, it goes back to the verse or the main riff, whatever you want to call it. And you can hear this like octave single note guitar line from Jimmy. Very, very cool. You could just play C, F, and G, power chords. But then there's this cool little riff, which is just the C major scale going from the root to the fifth. But if you play it that way, you don't get the same kind of ping and drone at the top from that perfect fifth as it comes back down to the root. So what I think's better is to play it using the open strings. So C, F, and G. And then hit the C with your second finger. Use the open D as your major second. And then second and third frets. Then the open G. Bite a little bit more, and then back down to that C root note with the second finger. Cool little riff. Yeah, I know. You could play it this way though, if you wanted. But I like the open string because I said so. Now, moving on to the final riff. It's the best riff. It's very cool. Let's take a look at it. Absolutely love this riff. It's so cool. And I'm like 99.9% sure that's exactly how he's playing it. The reason I like it though, and this is not me being conceited, like I get on very well with the way Page plays. I think you figured that out by now. There's just like, I've never taken a look at this song before, or this riff. Never learned it. And I'd never listened to it that carefully. However, do you remember my riff writing hack video that I did a while back? I wrote a similar riff, which is something like this, right? So it's really cool for me to like write something and then see like one of your idols, one of your heroes, your biggest inspirations has already done it. So you must have similar tastes and instincts and styles, which is why I kind of enjoy working out Zeppelin stuff and I find it fun. Anyway, that's my short story. Sorry about that, but I thought you'd find it interesting. Yeah. The reason that I think it's like 99.9% accurate is because it's using a lot of pull-offs to open strings. And if you listen carefully, as soon as you figure out which is the note that he's pulling off to, resolving to, you find out where he's playing it, right? Because you could play this C major pull-off lick here, right? But the 3 open strings aren't the right one, so it has to be here. So the next one has to be here. And then the riff, he's probably going to play it in open position rather than moving up the fretboard. So what's going on here? Well, we've got a C major, top 3 strings, 5, 5, 3. And then we've got this chord here. It's a D major shape, but all the way at F. Why is it F? Well, if that was D major shape and we put the root on, there's our F, okay? So we're going C to F, and then a little descending pattern. Start with your index finger on the 3rd fret, the high E. You're going to pull off to open, 5th fret, pull off to open, 5th fret, pull off to open. Then take that D major shape. I like to go 2nd, 3rd, and 2nd fingers here, just because of the shape change. I just practiced that a few times. Okay. The descending riff, dead easy. It's going to be 3rd fret, 1st fret, open, 3rd fret, 1st fret, open. Those are all your options. And it goes like this. 3, 1, 0, 3, 1. Okay? Picking advice here is to go down, down, up, down, up. Because then you start your next one on the down, naturally. And the next one just starts on the 1st fret, so tone lower. And descends to the open B, 1 note lower than before. Down, down should give you much better accenting. Together. Now right at the end, tiny little change, so after you C, on the A, so the 5th fret, pull off to the open, come down to this F, 6th fret of the B string, and then put a G major on, 5, 4, 3, D, G, B. I mean, that's banging. It's such a good riff. Very fun to play. The whole song. I'd never learned any of it before. I started working it out maybe like 2 days ago. Some of my patrons have seen me wrestling with different ways to play it. And I think it's important that you see that side of things, because I don't just pick up the guitar and go, oh, Fall in the Rain. There it is. I was like playing it wrong at first, quite wrong. And then I corrected myself. It was like a Rocky montage. 100 push-ups. I'm going to get this. And then I got it. I think. You can let me know in the comments below. I just want to touch on the guitar solo for a second, because firstly, it's beautiful. I love that tone, and it totally works in the middle of this tune. But it's one of those solos that's very wild and improvised. And I don't find them enjoyable to work out or teach because they're fairly chaotic. and it is difficult and time consuming. And I think if you understand conceptually what key you're in, what scales to use, and what's like sort of the main theme and what Jimmy's doing, you can have at it yourself and have a lot of fun with a fuzz pedal and a sweet reverb, and also try and work it out yourself. So we're in the key of C major, right? So let's take a look at a couple of positions of C. A couple of what? You didn't hear that right. I'm going to get done for foul language. A couple of positions of the C major scale. Here's one. Here's another one. Here's another one. In terms of a modal shape, that would be G mixolydian, but it's just the fifth mode of C major, right? It's the same notes. But just organized in a different area of the fretboard. Now, I feel like Jimmy's improvising in C, but he's resolving a lot of his phrases to either the G note, because that's where we end up in the chords at the end, or the E. Okay? So let's say I play a couple of phrases. That's the kind of thing that I hear going on, and he's just moving that all over the fretboard. He does some cool little legato runs, which you can get out of this position here. Move that around. But again, if I put that solo on right now and played through it and kept pausing it, I could figure out each lick on the fly, no worries, show it you, get demonetized, get told off. But it also zaps some of the journey out of improvement for you, because I got better at that by doing it. You can get better at it too. So I hope the scale shapes and that sort of information on target notes and resolution helps. And have fun. Become your own Jimmy.